Can we build a functional legacy deck around Aminatou, the Fateshifter? Let's find out. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another legacy video, and Isaac has challenged me to build a legacy deck around this card. So, to understand why we want to play this card, I think we need to take a quick look at the Miracle mechanic. Cards with Miracle have a highly discounted cost if you can draw them as your first card for the turn. And in Legacy, historically, we've used cards like Brainstorm and Jace the Mind Sculptor to put these cards back on top of our deck. And Terminus is just the most mana efficient board wipe in existence. For 1 mana, you nuke everything, doesn't matter if it's hexproof, doesn't matter if it's something like True Name Nemesis that is a major pain in the butt to remove, everything just goes. Or alternatively, we can use cards like this to set up Entreat the Angels. And 3 mana for a 4/4 flyer, I sleep. But let's say you spend something like, say, 7 mana, which is realistic for a control deck. And all of a sudden you have 5 4/4 flyers, 5 times 4, 20 damage. That means that you just kill next turn, even if you haven't done any chip damage to your opponent over the course of the game. And this is just incredibly powerful. So it's understandable why you would want to build around the Miracle mechanic. Now, this card is not the most mana efficient way to set up your miracles, right? Like that belongs to Brainstorm. And Jace is probably just sort of explicitly more powerful than this card, just in terms of like raw power and playability. I actually had a very hard time finding any lists utilizing this card, but like more on that in 1 second. So if we're going to be playing this, we also need to make good use of the -1 ability to blink a permanent. And going down this route led me to think that we should be playing some just sorcery speed tap out creatures like Baleful Strix. And this is the part of the video where I start giving you some bad news, because I had some really cool ideas that aren't legal on Magic Online. Idea number 1 was going and repeatedly blinking things that allow you to open up attractions from like the Unfinity set. And that was really cool, but guess what's not on Magic Online? Alright, so we have to scrap that idea. And my next deck building idea was to use Triumph of St. Catherine, which is an amazing control finisher with Miracle. Guess what also isn't on Magic Online? So we had some bad beats today in terms of deck construction. These cards are in theory coming to Magic Online at some point, but they're just not here yet. So in doing my research for building this deck, I found lots of deck lists. I found, half a dozen deck lists, but literally none of the deck lists I found were from this year that were legal on Magic Online, which is real awkward. So let's take a look at what I did manage to put together. Now, today's video is sponsored by both Moxfield.com and Cool Stuff Inc. Remember, if you end up wanting to buy any of these cards or other ones, promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order at Cool Stuff Inc. All right, so we've got a pile of cards here since we are going to be playing a Yorion-based deck list, so I can get additional value off of my Enter the Battlefield triggers. And we are going to be playing sort of a moat version of this deck list, and my win conditions are all going to have flying. Be those little spirit tokens from Staff of the Storyteller, or slightly harder hitting win conditions from Court of Grace. And with our good friend Aminatou over here, we can go ahead and blink our Staff of the Storyteller to reset it and draw more cards with it, or go ahead and blink things like Court of Grace to go ahead and get more card draws. Beyond that, we do need a handful of other things that we can blink for value, and we've kind of got that covered. Now, I do have a little bit of negative synergy in the deck as far as the sideboard goes. I think 8 cast and other similar artifact based decks are very real and quite popular on Magic Online. So, despite the fact that I do have Staff of the Storyteller myself, which is an artifact, and Baleful Strix, which is an artifact, I'm still okay playing these heavy hitters in the sideboard. I am worried since we are expending a lot of energy trying to build a synergy driven engine that we're not going to be quite as good against combo as a more traditional control deck might be. I think that's one of those things that I'm just going to have to give up. And I'm running Sholdred's Edict in the sideboard specifically for the Planeswalker mode because I think, an opposing Narset or Minsk and Boo or Jace the Mind Sculptor or something might give me some problems. I'm not actually going to be very good at pressuring Planeswalkers that can plus for loyalty, since, a lot of times I'm going to have 1/1s in play. Not 100% sure about my mana base here. I think you could take this in two directions with more basics than what I'm doing and Prismatic Vista or a bunch of duels like I'm doing. I think the true dual lands are correct because I'm going to need white a decent amount of time in this deck list. And I'm only going to be playing so many true white fetch lands while also needing like blue black on turn 2. So I think I like how I'm playing this. If you do end up rebuilding this with Prismatic Vista, though, I think Back to Basics becomes a very reasonable sideboard card at that point. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say here. Let's jump into the league. Let's battle. I am going to keep this hand, and I'm just going to lead on Tundra and pass the turn. I don't know what I want with this Ponder yet. I'd like to wait a turn and see what sort of things I'm expecting from the other side of the battlefield. Human. Got it. Counterspell's bad. Removal good. I just play my staff. I think I'm fine just playing my staff here and calling it a turn. So it makes a spirit, which puts a counter on Staff of the Storyteller, and I can cash that in for a card draw a little bit later on. I'm hoping my opponent just plays something that I can answer at sorcery speed. I guess don't Magus of the Moon me? Okay, that's annoying, but fine. Omen of the Sea is quite slow here. My opponent's Magus of the Moon is probably in the sideboard. I think I'm going to go ahead and draw a card here. And I think I just Edict them off another Tundra. Goodbye. I want to use the Trial of Ambition early on, if possible, because of things like Goblin Rabblemaster. Ooh. Seasoned Dungeoneer is a very strong card. Surprised to see my opponent getting rid of that. They might have been digging for lands. The Spirit Guide happens into another Fable. I have the front side of this one covered. Oh. Oh, this is sick. Yeah. Black, blue, white for Aminatou. Blink the Trial of Ambition to kill this token. Goodbye, Goblin. And then I'll just keep poking for 1 damage. Again, I have the backside of this Fable covered with Swords to Plowshares, or just a Minotaur minus. And if I don't have to expend any resources here, I can just blink Staff of the Storyteller and start drawing some more cards. This is immediately feeling much more real than I was expecting it to. Anointed Peacekeeper is down, as is another Solitude. My opponent's still stuck on mana? No, okay, there is a Caracas. Fury can happen. I'm a little sad about it because this can hit Planeswalkers. Ooh. I will attempt to Swords to Plowshares this. It's possible my opponent has the Blinky thing. No Blinky thing. I will start here. I just kind of always want to have a creature in play for purposes of taking the initiative back. Just do that again. Makes me worse. No, I think I want to ponder for a land drop here. Yeah, this is fine. No shuffle. Make the land drop. I think I end of their turn. Omen of the Sea to scry that other stuff out of the way. And not commit 2 copies of Baleful Strix to the board at the same time. So they get Reflection of Kiki-Jiki now. Alright. Just mono Fables. I don't want another Omen of the Sea. I think I can take the mana to ponder, though. Let's find some answers. 2 cards. That's pretty damn good. My opponent still has initiative stuff in their deck, so, like, let's not get too excited. Prismatic Ending's good. Let's go Brainstorm, Prismatic Ending, Flooded Strand, no shuffle, do this, blue, black, play Strix, draw the Prismatic Ending, fetch. I think at this point I start thinking about some basics just in case. Now, which one of these do I ending away? Probably this one. Just don't give them... I need to tap that differently. Just don't give them that value over time. And I don't think I attack here. It's awkward if they very specifically go soul land into initiative thing and then copy it. Otherwise, I can probably use Omen of the Sea to find an answer to the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki next turn. That's fine. I will trade a Strix here so they can't copy that token in the future. Play an initiative creature. I take the initiative. I play Moat. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Profit. Ooh, it is a Chrome Box. Imprinting Seasoned Dungeoneer and passing. Potentially just means Solitude. Go ahead and Omen of the Sea. Try to find an answer to this. These are good cards. They'll have 5 total mana, so that's Staff, Activate, Trial. Quite happy with that. Now this is the fun interaction because it fuels both copies of Staff of the Storyteller. Yeah. Now my opponent could have Solitude right here. And they do. They're going to take out my Baleful Strix and then presumably sacrifice the Solitude. Yep. Okay, sure. Yeah, you can go ahead and attack me. That's fine. This is the part of the game where I probably very handily start turning the corner. Let's brainstorm. Put back 2 lands. We'll go ahead and fetch. Pick up a basic island as insurance. Comfortable dropping a moat here. This 3 to activate, it's 3 to activate. I'll just go ahead and crash in. And in the not too distant future, I will cast a Yorion and it will do disgusting things. Alright, we're still gonna have a game. Okay, that's fine. Drawn another Omen of the Sea. I will go ahead and fetch. Another basic. 2 basic planes, right? Because if I don't, that was a mistake. I'll go ahead and temporarily take the initiative here. Dropping my opponent to 18. Okay, I do have 2 basic planes. Grab a Yorion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't have enough to play another thing here. Do Yorion. And this is going to be pretty gross. Blink 6 permanents here. At the end step. Yes, you may bounce my Yorion. That's fine. This will let me continue to do my thing. Yeah, sure. You can scry too. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do some things. I'm gonna bottom a Baleful Strix. I'll top a Prismatic Ending. I'll bottom both of those, honestly. I'm just gonna yield to all these Staff of the Storyteller triggers. Now my opponent sacrifices 2 creatures, which presumably means both copies of Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And I guess I'll go ahead and Draw a card with my staff as well. Cool. My opponent temporarily has the initiative. I will take it back on my turn. The only way they can kill me is by looping the Undercity 3 times. I don't think I need to tell you is unrealistic. That was a beating. Omen of the Sea felt very slow to me here, despite the fact that it did do some good things. I think I'm interested in a bit more removal in those slots. This is 80, but I still probably want Goldred's Edict. Trial of Ambition can be awkward versus the Goblin Rabblemaster type cards. Also, how is Force of Negation? I'm like not actually that scared of Chalice. It would certainly be annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Force Negation is nice versus the Reflection of Kiki Jikis that my opponent will try to bury me in. I think I'm going to cut a Preordain that hedges against Chalice while still letting me keep these. I don't know that I want more of them. I don't know, maybe the Preordain is bad enough on the draw that I play one more Force of Negation. I could also just play Containment Priest as a 2/2. That has some text versus Throne of the Dead 3. It's a very long game 1, just in terms of clock. It's not like I played particularly slowly. It was just a grind. I am perfectly happy with this opening hand. I have access to 2 of my 3 basics with this opener, with the way that I'm probably going to play this out. Alright, it is just Plains go. I think I just always lead on getting my basics here. Oh, we're chilling? That's fine. My Rafine's Tower is awkward here because I'm not going to be able to just play Teferi next turn. I'm going to let that go. It is a Moonman. This is probably the whole reason that my opponent kept their opener. I'm going to go ahead and go Island and Plains. Did I just Terminus that card? I don't think so. I'm gonna just Swords it. I don't really want to Brainstorm lock myself right now. I guess I can Brainstorm now. I want to get deeper in my deck. I kind of want to like just make a 3rd land drop so that I can Teferi and bounce that Chrome Mox while Swords to Plowsharing Magus of the Moon on my end step. I'm gonna take the risk here. Fantastic. I am going to put Force of Negation, Force of Will back, redraw Force of Will, Swords Magus. I want access to black mana here, I think. I'm gonna fetch. Probably want the scrub land. I have white. Then Teferi happens. I'll just take this value off of Chrome Mox and call it a turn. I have Force of Will for a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I'll let my opponent take this. Hard loss. An Archon of Emeria. I am going to just Force of Will that. It's like not super good here, but I get to just kind of be a dick if I counter it. And I'm here for that right now. Play a new Teferi. Immediately bounce Chrome Mox again. Just add insult to injury. I'll Prismatic Ending it in the next turn cycle. And I think I just play my tapped Rafine's Tower this turn rather than getting basic Swamp. I already have 3 colors and a Prismatic Ending if my opponent plays Magus of the Moon. Hello, Chrome Mox. How are you doing today? Have you had a good day? Anointed Peacekeeper is fine. I have multiple different answers in hand that all clear that. My Trial of Ambition now costs 4 mana. That's fine. Reveal Terminus. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. We'll take that. Go ahead and plus that. Make a land drop. 1 mana Prismatic Ending that Chrome Mox. I will now fetch the basic Swamp. And send Yorion to my hand. This is rough. My opponent can now play a Seasoned Dungeoneer, which is pretty good, but I think I'm going to bury them. It'll take a couple turns, but I'm not worried about the initiative. I'll go ahead and plus this. I'll just go ahead and edict them. Is just working towards Yorion bounce in a couple of turns. Goodbye, Seasoned Dungeoneer. I've already plus Teferi, so I'm good. I do have instant speed, prismatic ending available to me. My opponent will start going down the right side of the Undercity. Let's see what their scry finds them. Okay. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And they're just fucking done with me. Honestly, that's fair. So I was about to exile this at instant speed, bounce the token. Yeah. Yeah. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is, in my opinion, the best Magic the Gathering website for hosting your deck lists online. One of my favorite features is that you can create your own custom tags for when you're deck building. So let's say you're building a commander deck and you want to know, hey, how many copy effects do I have? You can just create a tag and sort everything, and there's fun little hotkeys so that you can do this more quickly. So really, please consider checking them out if you are looking to tinker with deck lists online. Okay, I think I'm fine keeping this opening hand. I've got an Omen of the Sea to pitch to Force of Will to get me out of the early game. Oh ho ho ho! Alright. So, what's the plan with that? What's the plan with that? I think I ponder and try to find a Terminus immediately. I just think that's going to be very good against whatever my opponent is doing. I am not interested in two of those three cards. Trial of Ambition is fine. But I've already got an Omen. Oh, okay. I have two pieces of removal. I have land drops for a couple of turns. I just let those things resolve. I'm gonna go after the payoff cards in this matchup, which I assume are Ajani's Pridemate and other similar cards. I think I trial here. The Edict is always going to get one of those. If my opponent just plays some sort of Ajani Pridemate type card, I can just bounce it with a Teferi while getting deeper in my deck. Do I have to worry about a Flash Critter? Is that a thing that I have to worry about? I don't know. As I don't know. Get out of here. Hello, Omen of the Sea number 3. I am tempted to Force of Will this just so I can resolve Court of Grace. And just start trying to win this game. Because it seems like my opponent's hand is quite weak. Let's plus this. Fetch Tundra. And become the pretty princess. Drawing a card at my end step. I have a single target removal spell. I have a Force of Negation for something weird. I don't know this one. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. Discard a card to make a night thing. I have a general rule in Legacy. When I don't understand why exactly my opponent is playing something, I counter it. And I think I'm pretty far ahead. Like, I get to just start making 4/4 angels immediately. I think I'm just good here. Tap Underground Sea, put the Yorion into my hand, draw an extra card. Alright, Supreme Verdict is coming in. I'm confident of that much. So, Supreme Verdict, Moat, Joldred's Edict come in. I don't know if I want, like, Rest in Peace or Containment Priest. Generally speaking, I don't think Force of Negation is going to be at its best here. I'm going to need a couple more cuts. Those are probably Preordains and Omen of the Sea. Actually, this is 77. I think I'm just, like, interested in the early turn efficiency here. And happy enough with where this ends up with. Yes! I'm going to need more lands, but assuming I hit more land drops, it should be very hard for me to lose this game. Or we could draw 4 drops forever and die. That could happen too. I'm willing to take 1 from the Soul's Attendant to see if I can snag a better creature with Swords to Plowshares. Actually, maybe that's not true, because I'm just always going to play Trial of Ambition. Yeah, I don't think that's true. I have lied. Okay. Although I guess if I play Trial of Ambition, I'm not playing Baleful Strix. So there's that. Woohoo. Makes my moat look less good. Oh, what a draw. What a draw. I want black white with this. Is that correct? I want white white for moat and supreme verdict, but I also need black for colors. This is a scalding tarn. So underground C. Go underground C. White black. Get rid of bitter blossom. I really need to play my Baleful Strix next turn to start working towards more lands. There's an Emeria untapped. Okay, there's another one of those things. This is awkward. I am going to try to hit my land drop. Yep, and this is any creature. Terminus, not looking great. My Force of Will is technically castable, but casting it comes at a pretty great price. Yeah, that's fine. That'll get swept up in Supreme Verdict later. Alright, cool. Yeah, I absolutely just block here. I don't want my opponent to be able to trigger that. Oof, we are not doing good on hitting lands here. So we'll see if they want to activate this. Just turns excess cards into knights and life gain. Again, though, assuming that I can get to 4 mana, that card is in no way a problem. Like, Bitter Blossom is the thing that I will need to Force of Will. What does this do? Put an invitation counter on it. You attack with 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card. Otherwise, make a 1/1 human creature token. Then if it has 3 or more counters on it, transform it. It's annoying. I think I'm gonna Force of Will that to buy myself some time here. That's really awkward. So this is turn 5, and I haven't hit a land drop or a cantrip yet outside of the Baleful Strix. Okay, my moats are a lot less reliable than I thought they would be here. I don't like where this is at currently. I'm getting a fourth of a card with that edict, but I want to stop my opponent from drawing cards with this. This is pretty brutal. Alright, there's the flashback of Lingering Souls. So my opponent can start overwhelming me, drawing extra cards here. I guess I will very sadly continue to play things in hopes of having a big Yorion turn later on. Or like a Brainstorm Indeterminist that just kind of like clears everything out and we're done. Like maybe I just needed to Force of Will this earlier in the game. But I think my draws have been exceptionally below average. Like this is turn 8. I've only had the 2 lands that I had in my opening hand. It is what it is. Okay, I think at this point for my sanity, I'm going to just go ahead and concede. Like my opponent has like a very good engine built now. And I just kind of stumbled. So I kind of know what's up now. I don't think I want to board in the additional Sheoldred's Edicts. I think some number of those are going to be Force of Negations. I think the moats are all coming out. Play extra Force of Negations. I honestly probably just play Omen of the Sea. Now I think about like extra Preordains versus Omen of the Sea. I think I'm just going to run it like this. This has 1 land. This isn't going to do it. This is going to be perfectly acceptable. It's hard for me to pitch a card with Force of Negation here. I'm gonna go ahead and lead on a Tundra. Just start trying to find like removal. Aminatou is not bad. I am perfectly fine going on this like bricks into bounce Trial of Ambition route. Okay, sure. That's fine. I'll grab probably an Underground Sea next. Going to 18. Edict my opponent. Not going to be the best versus a Bitter Blossom on this exact board, as I bottomed the Force of Negation at the beginning of the game. Okay, that's fine as long as I keep the creatures clear. I think I'm going to be okay at doing. Not perfect, but okay. That's fine. I think I'm going to go for a tapped Rafine's Tower at end of turn. With another fetch land in hand, I don't think I have to. Save it for shuffling off a cantrip. White, blue, black. Bounce a trial. Opponent can sacrifice a creature. See which way they kind of want to go about this. They didn't discard a Lingering Souls for the ultimate feel bad situation for me. The Soul's Attendant goes away. I will hold back Baleful Strix. My opponent just discarded Swords to Plowshares, so they might have another way to answer this Strix and get in to kill my Planeswalker. If they do, it's not the end of the world. I just have another one. Okay. So they get a token. Go ahead and start on a Strix and see what I draw. Force Negation's not bad, but is a touch late. Go ahead and blink the trial. Have my opponent sacrifice a creature. I think I get one more blink out of this and just hold up Force of Negation and Own of the Sea right now. I'm not sure if I attack with this Strix. I think the chip damage matters. My opponent's at 16. Soul Warden's fine. So end of turn, they get a critter. Gains them a life. And then I'll go ahead and Omen of the Sea. Not interested in Flooded Strand. The staff's okay. I will go ahead and take it. I think I'm just going to use my Planeswalker to keep my opponent's board under control. But I can Brainstorm first before I commit to playing another one of those. Holy fuck. Force of Negation goes back. One Staff of the Storyteller goes back. Minus on a Trial of Ambition. Opponent will junk a human token. I'll go ahead and fetch another Tundra. Play my Planeswalker again. Minus on the Trial. Opponent can sacrifice a creature. Sure, that's fine. And so that they don't get to trigger that, I will go ahead and Swords now. I'm not willing to lose my Planeswalker. I'm going to hold back both copies of Baleful Strix. And I'll start trying to bury my opponent in Staff of the Storyteller starting next turn. Yeah, alright. So now this just turns into an Anthem. I can ponder looking for Supreme Verdict. Or something like that. Court of Grace? I don't know that I'm really ready for that yet. I'm just going to shuffle. Sure. Play Staff. Make a critter. This will be giving my opponent life. Don't think I mind that, though. I will fetch again. I think I just need a lot of white mana here. Play a new Staff. Again, my opponent can have the life. That's fine. Hit a Trial. Make them sacrifice one of their creatures. And I'll chill. I have so much accrued value just sitting on board. My opponent's attacks aren't great. Like, they can attack to draw a card, but then they just lose stuff to Baleful Strix. Yeah, so they take their trigger. Block this here. I think I just double block this. I'll clear the board of most of their creatures. Now I'm ready for a Court of Grace. Force of Will's cool. Start by drawing a card. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and plus this. Put back a Polluted Delta. Go ahead and fetch away the extra land that I don't want. Grab a Scrub. Draw a card. And I think I chill here with Force of Will available. And a Baleful Strix as a blocker. My opponent can just make a knight that becomes larger. This is a slog of a game. Like, this is turn 8. Alright, I don't mind that I didn't use all of my mana. Like, that's perfectly fine with me. I go ahead and start. Doing this on Trial of Ambition. Again, just trying to keep the board clear here. That's fine. Make a land drop. 3 mana Yorion to hand. Back with Baleful Strix. Opponent's at 22. I'll drop Yorion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 permanents. And get an absolutely disgusting amount of value at end of turn here. Good stuff. Bottom both the lands, draw a card, do the staff thing. My opponent likes my deck. I'm actually very happy with what I've put together here. Alright. I think it's officially time for me to just turn the corner and go aggro here. I have 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. And I get to Aminatou, blink Yorion. Which is just honestly pretty gross. My opponent goes to 15. Let's draw a card here. Another force. Wrong. Draw another card. I kind of just want to hit a land drop. Alright. There's a land drop. Go ahead and fetch. Grab some land. Aminatou, blink Yorion. Get to do this every turn now. GG. We did it, and my opponent said this is only the second match they've played with this deck, but they'll send me a version of it once they're a little bit happier with it. I am in love with this deck. This is very awkward. Like, if I need this Ponder, and if I force a will pitching this, I'm keeping a hand that looks like these 5 cards. I think I just ship this one. Fuck. Okay. The good news is my deck is so full of value as long as I, have 3 lands, 2 spells. I think I can recover just fine from a mulligan. So let's go to 5. Yeah, this is great. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I pitch Force of Will and the Omen of the Sea and hope to be hedging against a fair deck. And this Ponder is purely just going to try to hit land drops. Half of the Storytellers sort of like land drops. I think I say no. There's just like a lot of times where I just get like wastelanded or something, and it's just like so incredibly awkward that those 3 cards are on top of my library. Throw back the Force of Will, get paired against Oops All Spells. Never fails. I think this is going to be an exceptionally difficult matchup, by the way. Like, I very much do not expect to win this. Like, I can charge up this staff here, but I think my opponent is fast enough, and I have, like, a larger deck than normal because I am a Oh? Okay. Memnite, though? Memnite plays around my Trial of Ambition. Teferi's a good draw, though. Is an Underground Sea? Yeah. I have white already, so I just want extra blue. Will Teferi bounce the Undercity Informer? Yeah. I think since my opponent's at 12 already from these shocks and Thoughtseize, I just rumble. Like, my Teferi can die. This game is not about Teferi. This game is about whether or not I can deal 11 points of damage before my opponent finds a way to combo off. They are not far away from it. Why are they playing Memnite? Like, is Gaia's Cradle in here? Reef? Where's the Plowshares? Rainstorm. I cast that before Staff? I think so. Where's the Plowshares? Put back Moat. Some other land. Fetch. Grab a Tundra. I suppose this is correct. We'll do the Trial to make them sacrifice this. Bash in for 1 point of damage. By no means is this game over. I am not safe. Balustrade Spy, for example, kills me. Why? Yep. Okay. Why are you playing this fucking Memnite that, like, gave me a bad day? Pulling the Weak is the answer. And Shield Spheres as well. This is a non-traditional build. Yeah, this is kind of neat. They try to turn Thassa's Oracle, and I die. That's a shame. I wasn't too far away from turning the corner on this game. Oddly, my opponent's Memnites fucked me up. So I have 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate, plus 2 Force of Negations, and then I have a number of things that technically have text that are sketchy. This is not a moat matchup. This is probably not a Terminus matchup. It's just too clunky here. That gets me the good stuff in, and then I can start thinking about the other things. I think I'm keeping Court of Grace to slam the door on the game. Like attacking for 4, then 8, then 12 is just more efficient than anything else I can do in terms of closing out this game. I don't want Energy Flux, I think that's too slow. I think my other removal covers this, and then it's just like, do I want these 4? Trying to use Stony Silence to shut off my opponent's mana is a lot less good when they have a 4-mana creature-based ritual. I am going to sub Trial of Ambition for Sheoldred's Edict because it is instant speed, and call that good. I could keep this and ponder for a force effect. I miss a good portion of the time, though. I think I'm just gonna mulligan. My 6 isn't great. I think I'm going to keep it and interact with artifact mana and creatures, and I have a Brainstorm as an emergency stop. It is not ideal, but things start getting really spooky for me against discard once I start going to 5. Alright, let's see what's happening. I will just let that resolve. Brainstorm predictably goes away. On another one. Awkward versus Cabal Therapy. That resolves. I probably respond to this. So that Force of Negation is still live. Let's Brainstorm. Those are misses. I will put back double Prismatic Ending here. I'll fetch. And then Brainstorm again. There is a Force of Will. Going to put back Ponder and Swords, let Cabal Ritual resolve, and then Force of Will this creature my opponent is about to play. Yep. Force, pitching Omen of the Sea. Knight is fine. So I will drop Baleful Strix. And I think I just remove that. If my opponent plays Dark Ritual and then Undercity Informer, I've got a Ponder to try to look for an answer. I think I lead on Ponder. Okay, any order that. There's a Strix. I'm gonna be shields down for a turn. Not a huge fan of that. My opponent's at 15. I'm scared. Every turn that I get to untap is very good for me. Oh, that's fantastic. I have 5 mana. This is a very awkward turn cycle. Because if my opponent doesn't have anything, I'm supposed to put this Yorion into my hand so that I can play it and blink Baleful Strix next turn, but this prices me into pitching Yorion if my opponent casts a Ritual. Resolves. Now they know about my Force of Negation. And they've got Memnites and stuff, so flashing that back is very real. I have enough big mana sinks in this deck that I'm just going to play that. It gives my opponent perfect information. But when I start drawing Aminatous and Courts and stuff, I want every land drop possible in play. Sheoldred's Edict is not ideal. It's technically interaction though. Alright, we're chilling. My opponent has time on their side, I think. I don't know if I want to play the Delta. Opponent's at 7. I am going to hold this one. That resolves. My opponent will immediately sack it to Cabal Therapy. I don't get a window to do something cool with Sheoldred's Edict. Am I dead? Let's find out. So my opponent has given me a window where I can attempt to kill a Shield Sphere. Calling the weaken instant. Originally a mana source, it has been eroded to an instant. I don't think I respond here. Yep. Ooh, it is a pass the turn line. You will sacrifice a Token creature. And I need to find one of my gajillion D removal spells. I am going to fetch and thin a land out of my deck. This is an incredibly critical moment, and I still have a land to shuffle after a cantrip. Okay. I guess technically I attack first. Can't afford to miss any points of damage. This is going to be real tight if I make it past this turn. So, draw a card. Fuck. So now I just have to hope my opponent doesn't go for it, and they, like, fully should. Alright, I'm F6'd. 4 Narcomoebas hit play. The Thassa's Oracle is currently in their hand. Yep. And then they Dread Return it, and I die. GG's. Like, we were very live there, as far as draws went. I just needed a little more time. Literally one more card. Alright, I've kept my opening hand here. I can't play this start of the game on all basics because I have triple Flooded Strand, which anyway, which means I can't fetch a basic swamp. But this is not a basic land matchup. This is can I deal with their bullshit? Slash, do they hit the fail rate of their deck? Fuck. Alright. I'm just gonna get Grizzlebrand on turn 1 or something. Yep. So Grizzlebrand happens. My opponent gets to draw 7 in they could even draw 14 if they wanted in an attempt to take my Trial of Ambition so that I cannot ever answer the Grizzlebrand. Alright, there's a Grief. That takes my Trial, effectively leaving me with a 0-card hand. Yeah. Do they draw 7 more? They do not. It's another Trial. So you're telling me there's a chance. I'm basically dead though. Like my opponent has access to so many cards, and they probably will play a discard spell this turn that takes my Trial of Ambition, or just create a second creature. Either one of those things is incredible. Yeah. All right, I'm F6 and do what you gotta do. These fast graveyard combo decks are brutal. Like, as we saw in the first couple of rounds, like, if we're playing fair, my deck is stellar. If we're not, I need an adult. Preferably an adult with a handful of surgical extractions. Oh, there's more. Sure. And an Archon. Okay. We can stop. We can stop. Containment Priest. Rest in peace. Force of Negation. This is very much not a moat matchup. Supreme Verdict and Sheoldred's Edict are playable. Kind of fish through things here. I do not want moats. I probably do not want prismatic endings. That gives me the first chunk of this stuff. How do I feel about Supreme Verdict? It's very slow. Yeah, I don't think I want Supreme Verdict. Like, the upside is that it's blue over Sheoldred's Edict, which is not blue. Do I even board it in? Like, is it better than the stuff that's in the deck already? I will have 5 Edicts plus 4 Swords to Plowshares to answer creatures that do get into play, not counting Teferi Bounce or Terminus. Terminus actually is really awkward. I don't want to be setting that up. Is Prismatic Ending on a piece of artifact mana or Prismatic Ending on like a Magazine Moon or Animate Dead better than like having Terminus? Alternatively, is Supreme Verdict being blue and pitching to my literally 8 force effects better than Terminus? I think I buy that. I have to win both of these games. This has a Force of Negation and ways to get card advantage. My opponent can punch a hole in my hand with a discard spell, but I think I've just got to accept that. Don't think I throw back a hand that has a chance of early interaction like this. Yep. Goodbye, Force of Negation. Yep. Alright, Bird, I'm gonna need you to draw me another counterspell or something. Or we can just, like, naturally draw Rest in Peace. Like, that would be fine, too. Hey. That is admittedly quite lucky. And we have another land drop so that I can start drawing extra cards next turn. Oh, we're chilling. Nice. Gonna go ahead and hit in with Baleful Strix. My opponent goes to 16. I'm playing one of these two cards. I think it's just the staff. Makes me a little less predictable. Okay, I will draw now. A new staff. I think I just Force of Negation. Oh, this is not my, it's my turn. I can't Force of Negation for free. I've just telegraphed that I have Force of Negation. Ooh. Let's start by attacking for 2. Just always need to do that. My opponent goes to 12. I think I'm going to preordain and look for more interaction and then play this. Oh, maybe I just play Staff. This charges up both copies of Staff and lets me draw 2 cards at instant speed. Yeah, I'm into that. Okay. Unmask target me will take this Force of Negation. I will just let that happen, and then I will draw 2 cards with Staff of the Storyteller. Okay. Yes. There's a fetch. And a show and tell. Go ahead and fetch here. Rub land. Draw a card. Draw a second card. I don't know that's going to do anything here. I do have a Supreme Verdict in my hand. So that's the good news. I'll sacrifice this. We'll discard a Preordain. My opponent knows about this stuff. Okay, this honestly could have been a lot worse. I'm going to start on Ponder and see if I draw a clean answer to Archon. I would prefer to exile it, but that's not bad. So let's do this. Batch. Another Tundra. Trial of Ambition. Get rid of Archon. Play Aminatou. I think I'm just going to blink a Staff and queue up being able to draw 2 cards with it next turn. If I blink Baleful Strix and my top card is Force of Will or Force of Negation, that line's better. Like, blinking Strix is better. But if that's not the case, then I have hidden 2 cards from discard. Yeah, the Exhume is fine. Junk a token. Discard the Supreme Verdict. And I already just have a queued up answer to this while I can draw a bunch more cards. So let's start by doing that. Not super interested in Omen of the Sea right now. But that's stellar. We're going to just go ahead and play that. Edict that Archon again. Attack. My opponent goes to 15. I'll blink a Staff. And I've got some queued up cards again. And if my opponent puts in another creature, I just Edict it. Grief's fine. Like, take my Omen of the Sea. If you do, I have another one of these queued up. If you don't, I'll cast Omen of the Sea. End of the turn. Animate Dead on Grizzledad. I'll respond. It is Force of Will. Nice. Alright, Force of Will, pitch the Planeswalker. We're doing stuff. I'll attack for 3. One's at 12. 3, 6, 7. It's 8 to play and cast Yorion in the same turn cycle. Let's start drawing some cards. Brainstorm's fine. Swords is fine. Put back Omen. Scalding Tarn. Go ahead and plus this to keep this walker around. I will hide the Swords to Plowshares on top of my deck and pass the turn. That's just like not a problem. You have a Grizzlebrand. I surprisingly don't care. Yep. Care a little bit more about that one. There's an Archon. Cast Omen of the Sea. I'll just bottom the Omen of the Sea. Top the Swords. Finally exile that Archon. Fine with continuing to sack the tokens and keeping the Baleful Strix in play. I don't need to grind that Exhume value. I just want this Death Toucher in play in case something goes wrong. Alright, my opponent draws 7 more. I'm just pretty good at dealing with the creatures that they put into play, though. I kind of feel like I'm playing Pauper, where I just have, like, card advantage stored on board, where it's immune to hand disruption. There is Emissary. That card might be a problem a little bit later. Because it's you and creatures you control. They could choose enchantment, I guess, in theory. Is target opponent. Let's start making a plan. Swords is good. Another Aminatou is good as well. I go 1, 2, 3. No shuffle. Aminatou. Minus on the trial to edict it. Opponent sacks their creature. I crash in for 2. Opponent's at 5. Play a new one of these. Keep the one with higher loyalty. Minus on a staff. Make another body. Charge up 2 copies of staff, and at instant speed I can draw Swords to Plowshares. I can still lose this, but it's turn 8 and I'm not dead. Animate dead on Archon of Cruelty is fine. We'll fully just let that resolve. I'm at 5. We'll sacrifice a spirit. I have to respond to that. Go ahead and swords this creature. Then Exhume happens. Another Archon. I lose a spirit token. I'm at 2 life. The next Archon trigger kills me. I still think this is worth doing. And I'll draw this card. Force of Negation is fantastic. That's exactly the sort of thing I'm looking for here. Won't be playing that. Let's edict my opponent. 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm 1 mana short of doing Yorion nonsense. I still probably put it into my hand, right? Still probably put it into my hand here. Alright, good stuff. That resolves. I've lost the Force of Negation. Am I dead to another Archon hitting play? I am. Ooh. Yeah, about the only thing I could have majorly done differently that game is sacrificed my Baleful Strix rather than the tokens. I could have drawn up to 2 more cards over the course of that game by doing that. But again, I think the Death Toucher does matter at the end of the day, so I don't regret the line that I took. GG's. My opponent has revealed a companion. So this could be Bomberman, or it could be like a Gyruda clones deck. I think with multiple cantrips here, I'm comfortable keeping this hand. I'm going to start with Ponder for Force of Will or Force of Negation. And I'm just going to shuffle this. I very specifically know what I am looking for here. If my opponent ends up like somehow magically making a whole bunch of clone copies of Gyruda immediately, like it's potentially better to lead on Scalding Tarn. See where this goes. Yeah. I mean, this is part of the reason that I wanted to look for Force of Will. This is definitely scary for me. I am not going to die immediately. Actually, better than it looks. I guess this Chalice is only shutting off 1 card. Cavern on Human. Alright, so it is looking like Bomberman. Alright, they're there to stay. I understand. Go grab a Tundra. And start looking for my next land drop. I just... Anything that is not a land here basically goes to the bottom. Alright, I did find a land. Fuck. I led on this. Do that. Yeah. I couldn't have known that I needed to get Underground Sea here. I just physically could not have known that. Okay. Commander to hand. Wait. I don't know. With Double Trial of Ambition, I was probably supposed to get Underground Sea. I think I can own up to that as just explicitly being a mistake. Very costly one. Alright. I can sacrifice this to scry 2. I don't know that I'm supposed to. It gets legitimately hard for me to tell whether or not I am supposed to do that. Because, like, if I just draw a land, like, having Omen of the Sea is better for Yorion Blink nonsense. Yep. Sure. There's an LED. I think I am going to scry. I'm going to top this Underground Sea. And I'm going to sit here and think about whether or not I just want to concede. This Karn can Mycosynth Lattice me out of the game, or they can Bomberman combo me. I think I am at such low percent to win this game that I don't show my opponent more cards here. As sad as that is to say. I don't know that I would have beaten the Karn, but I could have been in a better position to, had I not messed up. I'm interested in both Energy Flux and Stony Silence here, which probably means that I need to think about boarding these out for the Bomberman combo. And I guess I should say Bomberman refers to Auriok Salvager combo, where you use Lion's Eye Diamond with this thing's activated ability to make infinite mana, and then you usually kill with a Walking Ballista. So let's figure out what I'm doing here. If I board out my copies of Staff of the Storyteller, I can board in these 4. I'll make myself a little better against Chalice by boarding out Preordains. I will board in another Moat, and probably the Supreme Verdicts. I still probably need the Rest in Peace to help supplement the anti-Bomberman stuff. Not cut any more win conditions. I can probably cut the Omen of the Seas. Those feel expendable. And then I can play another Force of Negation, or maybe even 2. 2 of them cutting 1 Terminus, since I'm bringing in Supreme Verdict, is reasonable. This is an answer to Planeswalkers. This is blinkable. Like, do I just get worse at cantripping and keep land-heavy hands and just make myself better versus Chalice? Cutting the Ponders here might be crazy. I spent a little bit too much of my sideboarding time pulling up that card. That's on me. Keep. Oh, this is so good. Answer to creature, answer to Karn, answer to artifacts, different answer to artifacts, / pitch card for Force of Negation. You get to have that. I'm gonna fetch a Rafine's, whatever it is, power here as a tri-land. Second Energy Flux, so now I can pitch 1 to Force of Will without it mattering. Or sorry, Force of Negation without it mattering. Okay, not Urza Saga, which is great for me. Let's try to hit a land drop. I would have really preferred to do that naturally here. Fuck. Okay. Okay. That's bad. Hopefully this Stony Silence is doing some serious work. Nope. That is very much not allowed. I have to draw through these 2 copies of Moat. Can't even put my Yorion into my hand right now. Saga's annoying. That Karn resolves, I will Eldred's Edict that one. Yeah. Sacrifice a Planeswalker for me, though. We're just gonna do that immediately. I don't care about taking 2 from this. Like, it's only an artifact creature or 1 turn cycle. So I don't need to use a card on it, especially when Stony Silence is just shutting it off. I do have 2 1-for-1 removal spells that I can use on Urza Saga tokens. I also just do have Energy Flux. Cavern of Souls is on Kraken, which is a thing. Malevolent Hermit resolves. Kind of awkward here. Has exactly enough mana to do Urza Saga, and if I source the Plowshares this, sack it so that it goes to their graveyard and they get the extra value, so I'm not going to do anything. Fuck. Yep. Tight enough on mana that I am probably going to have to just feed Source of Plowshares to this Malevolent Hermit, which I don't like. Okay, that's not scary. Like, these are growing the constructs, though. Yep. I will attempt a Swords to Plowshares here, which my opponent should just counter. I cannot pay for that. All I need to do is rip a land and play this Energy Flux, though. And the game is basically over. Hey, it's a land. My opponent controls 7 artifacts. So they've got a few triggers here. I'm just going to F6 through this. I assume they're going to keep Construct Token, and be at 8 life. Oddly, they have kept a Signet instead of 2 Construct Tokens. This is very unusual. I don't really get it. Yeah, the Geist is fine. But Baleful Strix over Trial? I think I Baleful Strix, because if I Baleful Strix and hit a land, I can do both of my things this turn. And I would like to keep getting deeper to go towards Moat. Nice. Go ahead and pass the turn here. This whole Energy Flux thing just gets to keep happening. Alright, they've paid for the Construct, sacked the Signet. They are at 6 life. I'm just going to let that resolve. Okay, cool. I will do tradesies. I wasn't going to be able to really pay the Energy Flux cost anyway. And for the sake of mana efficiency, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Alright, cool. Go ahead and play my Planeswalker. I'm going to plus and shuffle away one of these moats in all likelihood. Yeah, very nice. Okay, I am now turning the corner on this game. Goodbye, Mox Opal. There's still this 6/6, but, like, I've got answers to that just here. There's the Salvagers. Go ahead and respond. I know I want to fetch. I'll let that resolve. I believe I just Sorcery Speed Trial of Ambition that. That feels like my plan. I'm going to do that before making any other plays, just in case something gets a little bit weird. Goodbye. Go ahead and plus this. I don't really care about Prismatic Ending. That can go back. Go ahead and fetch. I already have triple white. I think an Underground Sea is fine. I think my position is strong enough that this is okay as well. Yeah, and I'm just going to be able to like play Moat with Swords to Plowshares available and then start doing blinky things. Alright, my opponent puts their companion into their hand. Yeah, this is a little weird, but I just keep plussing this. Ponder can go back. Play Moat. This is just a disgusting string of enchantments. Yeah, so my opponent doesn't even make Urza Saga tokens anymore. They've got a Pithing Needle, they can shut off my engine, but oh, they don't. Yes. Ooh, they got a Cathar Commando. That's quite strong. I'm gonna go ahead and Swords to Plowshares, the 6/6. Now, how do I want to sculpt this game? I think I just want to force them to make their choice about what they're going to do with Cathar Commando immediately. And then I'll sculpt the rest of my turn around that, probably involving pondering. I assume I lose Energy Flux. Oh, I'm losing Stony Silence. My opponent says, I've seen you play some wild stuff. This is definitely up there. Hard agree, friend. Hard agree. I'll go ahead and ponder. Of course, it was a little awkward given that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. Another Aminatou. Go ahead and play Teferi. And I think I just plus Teferi. I can technically lose the game to my opponent having like the exact perfect thing that lets them Bomberman combo. Like, they would need Auriok Salvagers. Maybe I should have kept the Force of Will. I'm dead to Auriok Salvagers plus LED. That is Auriok Salvagers. Oh my god, they had Auriok Salvagers plus LED. Or actually, does a counterspell do anything? So I counter this, and they pay 3 mana to return it. Yeah, the counterspell wouldn't have done anything. So my opponent returns that. Yeah, and Walking Ballista's already in the graveyard. Yeah, I died, and Force of Will wouldn't have stopped it. Because this was uncounterable, and countering the LED doesn't matter. That's a neat end to this league. I'm not even mad. Ooh, that was a very fun league to record, but the matches with this deck are incredibly intense and very time consuming. So ultimately, here's what I think I've learned from this video. Aminatou sucks at making miracles happen. Like, I know that's like why I was asked to put this deck together, but not once did I just like do this thing and set up a Terminus. Instead, I was just using this to flicker Trial of Ambition and Baleful Strix and Staff of the Storyteller again and again and again and again. And so I think if I were to rebuild this, I would just completely scrap the miracles idea and just try to go more of the direction of like Esper Vile with just like value ETB creatures or other things that I just like abuse again and again and again and again. You need a decent amount of controlling elements to like make sure that you are dominating combat. And you probably don't want 4 of them, but I think that's the direction that I would lean with this. So we were very good at beating fair decks. Like we won rounds 1 and 2, and we were struggling with the very fast unfair decks. Game 3, or sorry, match 5 there, I thought I had that one. I just wasn't actively thinking about like the line that could beat me. And I maybe could have played towards finding another Swords to Plowshares to disrupt that, or like more aggressively digging for Rest in Peace to stop that. I just thought I was far enough ahead that I couldn't lose that one, or at least not easily. And I'm not going to say I punted that last game. I don't think that's accurate, but I don't think I was playing towards the thing that fully shut the door on my opponent. Yeah, but this was fun. This was a great thought experiment. And if you end up wanting to try out this deck and buy any cards for it in paper, visit Cool Stuff Inc. Use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. All right, have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya.